Hello, well, welcome back to lesson 2.
Lesson 2.
How you going, Simon?
Good, good.
At this mighty machine.
Yes, this is my machine here.
So, yeah, and I did encourage Simon to bring his machine along because he needs to learn on his machine. But, everybody watching out there understand what we do on Simon's machine might be totally different on your machine. So if you don't understand when we talk about different things on your machine, Simon, people out there will need to look in their manuals or Google up or contact their dealer.
It's interesting you say look in the manual because
Have you looked in your
I
manual?
haven't looked in my manual.
So you're going to learn lots about your machine.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. Okay. So what we've done first up, and I noticed that you've got the nice flat bed on there, which is really, really good.
Yep.
And it's good that you invested in that. And you've put the sew slip mat on.
Yeah, you can see it's very easy to stick onto the extension table here.
Yeah, but even if you don't have an extension table, it could have gone on the machine the other way. So it could have gone on so this long part was hanging over the front. So you can put it on your machine any way you want.
Oh, okay.
So it's really, really easy to do.
Big hole for the feed dogs there.
Exactly right. Which means now you can have it on there all the time for no matter what sort of stitching you do.
That's great.
Okay. So now we've got the open toe foot on. There's nothing in the front of it. We've got it threaded up with a nice white thread on your bobbin and the top.
Just one note, that's a lot wider than any other foot I've ever had on there.
Exactly. Because you want to be able to see that line. So it makes it fair. It's not a 1/4 inch foot. It's the foot I would probably use to do any satin stitch with, any applique, any edge stitching. If I want to, when I do quilt you go, I always talk about the open toe foot. So it is just a beautiful foot to use. So our feed dogs are up. Okay, so those little teeth are your feed dogs. So they're going to work with your foot, moving the fabric through.
Yep.
So now, I've got on the machine, I've recommended that you use a nice lightweight thread. So we've got a wonderful 40 weight thread on there. So it's going to be nice and shiny. It's going to be, so if you're going to go back and stitch over a line, which we will be doing, it won't build up too much of a thickness with the thread.
And it'll look nice on this blue here too.
It'll look gorgeous on the blue. Okay, so now what we want to do is there any questions you need about things that came with your machine? Any accessories?
There was this odd shaped thing here.
I thought you might ask that.
I don't know what I'm going to do with this.
Okay, this is what's called a knee lift.
A knee lift.
A knee lift. So that when you stop and want to pivot, you're going to push against this and it'll lift the foot instead of you coming around the back and lifting the foot.
Because that's the only way to lift the foot.
No. There's a lot of machines out there now that are computerized that you can put a setting in there every time you stop. The needle will go down and the foot will automatically lift off the fabric. And this is what people need to learn about their machines. So there is a little hole over there on the right-hand side of your machine where that little lever goes into. You just need to shift that.
I see.
See that hole? And you push it right in there. And you as an engineer will appreciate this. Okay.
There's a click.
Clicked. It's in.
There's a click.
So now you put your knee against that.
It's right next to my knee.
Yes. So see how now it's lifting the foot?
Oh, yeah.
See that? See how clever that is? So now when you're stitching and going around corners, you'll just push your knee against that. And that's why another reason why I'm going to get you to sew with your left foot. So I want your foot pedal directly under the needle. That foot pedal down there, your accelerator, put it directly under the needle. Right, put your left foot on it, move your body over a bit. Okay. Now you're sitting square onto your machine.
Okay.
Your left foot's going to be on the accelerator and your right knee is going to lift your foot off the fabric.
God.
How's that?
I don't drive a manual.
Well, you're going to drive this manually. All right, so that's the first step. Okay. We're going to use an awl when we draw our bobbin thread up through the fabric to the top, which we'll explain to you in a moment. So you'll need that awl handy to you.
That's a good little device anyway.
It is. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to release the pressure off the foot. So when you put your pressure foot down, you've got your pressure foot up, you've got your pressure foot down. we want to release the pressure off this foot.
Why,
So
you
can
gave
you
me the knee
feel-
lift.
Yeah, but when you're sewing, you're not going to be having that foot off there all the time.
I wouldn't imagine so, no.
No. So do you know how to release the pressure off this foot? Because when you put your fabric underneath here, right, and you put the pressure foot down, you pop the pressure foot down.
So you keep saying pressure foot.
Yep.
And
Feel
this,
the pressure on the foot.
yes, feels spring-loaded.
That's right. So you can feel it's tight. Because the machine's designed to put the foot flat down on the fabric to squash it between the fabric between the feed dogs and the foot. Okay, so it's got pressure on it, but we want to release the pressure off so that when we get to these corners, it makes it really easy to turn the corners without it bunching up. So can you release the pressure off the foot for me? Do you know how to do that? No, that's lifting the foot.
Well,
It's not
there's
releasing.
this button over here.
Oh, no, that drops your feed dogs down, and we want to sew with our feed dogs up.
Oh, okay, I'll bring those back up.
That's it. Right, now they're up. So if you were going to free motion quilt with a free motion foot on, you would drop the feed dogs down. But we're going to control quilt with feed dogs up.
Well, I'm at a loss.
Okay. What else is there that you could do?
Ah,
No, don't touch that.
That's
That is your top
that's about-
tension. That's the
Tension is-
tension on your thread.
okay,
If you
that's-
start fiddling with that,
not pressure, is it?
no. You don't know where it is?
Help me out,
So
Pauline.
this is why you need to read your manual, because in your manual it will tell you. Now, over at the side of the machine, have you noticed this little wheel?
The big wheel I'm now seeing very clearly.
A big grey wheel, and it's got a plus, and it's got a minus, and it's got a foot on there with an arrow. Okay, so that is the device on this machine of how you release the pressure off the foot. Okay, so now you put the pressure foot down.
Pressure foot down, yeah.
Now let's go take that right back to minus.
It's on full.
It's on full
and then
plus. So
yeah.
keep winding
Winding.
till you can go no further.
It's a long way to go.
It's a long
Okay,
way.
yeah, that's full.
Okay, now lift the pressure foot. Feel how loose it is?
Very loose.
Very loose. So we release the pressure off the foot. But if we release it right off, our two threads will not connect together properly. Okay, so we need a little bit of pressure on. Now feel your foot. See how it's got a little bit of pressure there? Not a lot, just a little bit.
Not as much as full on.
No, nowhere near as much as full on. So for people watching this lesson, you will need to work out on your machine how to release the pressure. Now they put that on our machines to sew through bulk, because a lot of times we're sewing through thickness. You know, when you take up your jeans in that inside leg, it's really bulky and thick, that's where you would take the pressure off the foot so that the foot would walk straight across that bulk.
Oh, as it sort of comes
Exactly,
over and
exactly.
back
When
to...
you've got full pressure on, it'll want to bog down. So we release the pressure off.
I see.
Okay, makes sense?
All right. Note to self. Read the manual.
And it's one of the biggest mistakes we do when we invest heavily in a sewing machine, because they cost a fair bit of money. So some machines, there may be a dial at the top here. Some machines you can open the door and there's a dial inside. On my particular Bonita that I use, it's computerized, so I have to go into the computer part of it and change the pressure on the foot. So every machine basically does it. Some of the really cheap machines, you can't release the pressure, but most machines that people use today, you can release the pressure off the foot.
Well, it's a
There you
handy
go.
little feature, isn't it?
Yep. So now we're ready to start stitching your beautiful design. So what I'm going to get you to do, when we start, we're going to draw the bobbin thread up, and I'll show you how to do that, because we don't want to leave the bobbin thread underneath because it'll get all tangled up and make the back of your work messy.
Right.
And because we've already got the back of the quilt on here, We want it to be neat on the back.
You mean the starting part where we have this length here?
Yes.
You want that
I want it,
all on top?
yes, exactly, which I'm going to show you how to do.
Okay.
Then we're going to start your stitching here, as we said before, and we're going to follow the wave all the way through till we get to this side.
Right.
Then when we get to here, you're going to use your knee lift to lift the foot off the fabric, and then we're going to come around here. But when we get to here, you'll find that you'll be able to just pivot around without lifting the foot, because with that little pressure, it'll allow us to come around these curves. So we're going to come up through here, and when we get to here, I want to show you what we're going to do here.
Okay.
Okay, so it's a bit of a roadmap, but it's just covering a lot of the different techniques. Then when I get you to here and you get you started, I'm just going to leave you to stitch, and you can then stitch this out before the next lesson. Okay?
I can do that.
So we need to lift the pressure foot up completely.
Pressure foot up. And
Right.
normally you would start with all these to the back.
You want your top thread towards you.
Top thread towards me.
Towards you, your bobbin thread to the back. So now we're going to start here. Now you can pop your pressure foot down. And you want to start right on the tip of that leaf. Just decide where you're starting. Now we want you to hold your bobbin thread in your hand, and I want you to press your needle up, needle down button. Now press it again.
Needle
And
down.
as you press that, pull on your top thread.
Needle up.
There you go. And see what's popped up?
Oh,
Your
yeah.
bobbin thread. Now use your awl and pull
There's a
that
little
loop. Yep.
eyelet there.
Yes. And there's your bobbin thread to the top.
Huh.
Now you put both those threads back in underneath your foot. And make sure your needle's right on that very tip of that pencil line. Now we want to put your stitch length to 0, or not quite to 0.
Okay, I know where the stitch length button
Yep.
is. It's here.
All right, that's good. Okay, so down to 0.2, that's good. Now do a couple of stitches on the line.
Let's get it sort of in the right direction.
Okay. Right,
It's not going anywhere.
that's right, because it's got a no stitch. Now we're going to move that stitch length up to about 1.
Yep.
Okay, do a couple of stitches. Right,
Still not
now
going
stop.
anywhere.
It's going a little way. They're doing very small stitches. Now go right up to 3. So that's locked the thread off now, so it won't unravel.
Ah.
Okay. Now a lot of people pull their bobbin thread to the top and leave a tail of the top thread and the bobbin thread, and then they thread it on a needle, and they tie a knot and thread it back in between the top layer and the wadding.
That's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. That's why I like to do it like this.
The only thing I know is Mum taught me go a little bit forward and a little bit back,
But then
and then
you
all
see,
the way forward.
then you see that back stitching.
Oh,
It builds up thread at the start and
we
the
don't
finish.
want that?
No.
Okay.
No. So now what I want you
That
to
was
do.
easy what you just taught me then.
Okay. Now you just stitch that how you would stitch it with your hands, where you would normally put your hands.
To follow this line here?
Yeah, yeah.
Like here kind of thing?
Yeah, where you feel comfortable. And then I'll show you how I would suggest you hold it.
Do you want me to start?
Yep, you can start. You're ready to go.
Oh, easy into it.
Now just stop for me if you don't mind, because I can see you're trying to drive this and you've got a lot of pressure on here.
And it's not very comfortable.
What I want you to do is drive from the front. I want you to hold one hand there, one hand down here and one hand here. And now you're just going to glide that under the needle. Keep your eye on the line. Now we have your machine on the faster speed, and you'll find your left foot will control the speed of your needle much better than what your right foot will. How's that?
That's very easy to follow this line.
Yep.
What's the catch here?
Stop. The catch is the lighter you have your fingers on the fabric, the easier this is to maneuver. Now, if we had full pressure,
Wow.
and I'm going to put full pressure on the foot again. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to put full pressure on. Now you try and maneuver that. See how it's all bunching?
Yeah, that's...
See that? We don't have the control that we need, and this
not
is
the
why we
same.
called it controlled quilting. Now, every stitch is going to be perfectly even because your machine is making the stitch. We're sewing normally. Okay? The trouble with free motion quilting is trying to keep your stitch length even, because if you've not free motion quilted before, which you haven't, once you drop the feed dogs down, your machine makes no stitch length. You have to make the stitch by moving the fabric under the needle at the right pace.
To push it from here to here even would be...
Yes, and you'd get inconsistent stitches. So this is why I do it this way, because I can teach anybody out there can be a beautiful quilter using this technique. So now we're going to take the pressure right off again, and I go right off, and then come back a little bit. Now you're just going to glide that under the needle and you won't get the bunching up.
Yeah.
So you can come around over here
Which
if you
way?
want.
That way? Okay.
Whichever way you want.
Start again. Oh. What do I...
Put your foot on the pedal.
think so. Oh, no.
Yeah.
There it goes. It doesn't bunch up at all when I turn.
It doesn't bunch up at all when you turn it. But if I had full pressure on your machine, you'd be struggling with it.
And you're right, just follow that.
Just follow that line.
Line running out of...
So
room
over
here.
here.
Go over there.
Yep, we'll just put that hand down. You only need one hand up here.
Oh. Okay. I think I figured out
Your left
knees.
foot.
My knees resting on the knee lift.
Oh, right, okay. Now this is where you'll stop. Now this is where you'll use your knee lift, or you'd have to lift the pressure foot.
Right.
Okay, to
So
turn
needles
around that sharp
down,
point.
Go around.
Okay. Now I
Right.
want you to come back up here and around here.
Okay.
Okay. Now just pivot that around, and you don't have to lift the pressure foot. That little bulk there will disappear.
Will it?
Yep, believe me.
What?
Look at that, gone. That's excellent driving. So the main thing is just to keep your eye on the line. And sew at your speed. Remember, it's like driving a car. If you're going to go too fast, you might crash. Right, now stop. Right on that line.
Oh,
Okay.
almost.
Put your knee lift up. Right. Now I want you to do one stitch back. Right. Now lift your foot, press your foot again. Right, now with these, see these lines here that we've got?
Yeah, the detail in the petal.
We're going to stitch those now. So we're just going to come around, and I want you to go up to that line, and when you get to the end, I want you to stop. Now stop. Now there's two things you could do here. You could use your knee lift or lift your pressure foot. So let's do that.
Yeah.
Turn it around and come back on that stitching line. And when you get to the center, stop.
Follow the same line.
Yeah, follow the same line. And this is what we call double stitching. This is why we use a nice fine thread. Stop. Right. Now we're going to come down here. Stop when you get to the end of the line. Stop. Now, instead of pivoting that around, you could press the reverse button.
Go backwards.
Go backwards.
Oof.
See how good you are at that?
Oh, man. This one you have to hold the button down.
Yes.
It's going to be a bit hard to...
Well, get more control. Get this hand up in here.
Okay.
Okay?
Oh,
That's not too bad.
that's not too bad.
That's not too bad. So you've got options there. You can press the reverse button because it's normal sewing. And this is what we have to get everybody over the hurdle, because people think to do things like this, you've got a free motion. No, one day we'll teach you free motion, Simon, and you'll see the difference of what that is. So you'll go and stitch all of these lines now by double stitching them, and then you'll come out and you'll keep quilting your pattern until you get every line stitched. So I'm going to leave you.
See what you mean. So straight lines, find the center.
Yep.
Do my detail, then keep moving on.
And then if you any lines that you don't stitch over, that if you stitch off the line, we'll get the eraser when we're finished and erase out the line, and nobody will know that you missed the line. So how's that? So every stitch is beautifully even because your machine's doing all the work. All you're doing is driving it. But it's learning how to set the machine up properly to achieve this method. And I really encourage anybody watching this lesson, give it a go, because you can quilt beautiful, beautiful designs.
You really can.
So I'm going to leave you to stitch now.
Okay, let's see if I
Sing
can.
out if there's any problems.
Oh,
Happy quilting.
thank you. Thank you, Pauline.
So how are you going? Oh, you've all but finished.
Oh, I finished just this last little part here. I'm going to follow back out.
Well done.
That really did not take any time at all.
It's very quick, isn't it? So just lift your pressure foot, cut your threads. That's it. Well done. So that's beautiful. Look at that. Well done.
That's so easy to do.
And I can see that you've stitched over some previous lines. You're getting a really good eye there.
Yep,
That's well done.
You can see
Well
from
done.
one side where I started to the other side, it gets
And it's
progressively
like,
better.
yeah, and it's like anything, isn't it? The more you do, the better you get at it.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's it for lesson 2.
Lesson 2. Okay.
Lesson 3, you're going to be doing your dot to dot,
Yep.
stitching your melons,
My melons.
and then you're going to be doing some feathers.
Feathers.
So you've got them already drawn up. So until we see you at the next lesson, have fun practicing. Get as good as Simon.
Oh.
See you. See you, Simon.
See you in the class 3.
Bye-bye.